Behind every undeniable brand are strategies most people never see. Until now. Each week, we're ripping open the playbooks of world-class innovators who've built massive communities from scratch. Real people, real results, real systems you can implement today. I'm Kendall Lejeune, and this is Tribe Tracks. Joining us on the show today is Sam Primm. Sam Primm is a dynamic entrepreneur who transformed his MBA in marketing into a powerful personal brand reaching over 3 million followers across social media. As the founder of Faster Freedom, Sam has built one of real estate education's most engaged communities, mentoring over 800 students who collectively own more than $300 million in real estate assets. Through authentic content creation and strategic community building, Sam has grown a massive following, including 1.9 million TikTok followers and over 500,000 on both Instagram and Facebook. Beyond his business success, he's the founder of Greater Giving, a nonprofit focused on mental health advocacy, and proves that building a powerful brand doesn't mean sacrificing authenticity or family values. Please welcome Sam Primm. Sam, thanks so much for joining us. I've been super excited to interview you. You've been on my list for a long time that I've wanted to sit down and talk with you. So I'm super excited that you've been able to do that with us today. Thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate that, Kendall. I think you say that to everybody. Maybe not. But anyways, either way, I appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely don't. I like to keep it real. One of the things that's so exciting, I'm in the real estate space, you're in the real estate space, and we know one another from masterminds and things like that. And different people start sticking out. And one of the things that stuck out so much to me about you is your social media presence. You are everywhere. You've got over 1 million followers on TikTok. You've got hundreds of thousands on Instagram. So for those listening that may not know who you are and what you do, can you give us a little bit of backstory about what it is that you do?
Yeah, and that social media stuff is crazy. You're right. I never intended to be like a social media presence or influence, whatever you want to call it, just organically happened. But I just have a story that's pretty normal and boring, but I think people relate to it. So I don't get they're not going to make a movie about it, but it's also relatable. So grew up in the Midwest, middle class, lower middle class, nothing exciting, no entrepreneurial parents, no big money inheritance. I was planning to go work a job for 40 years, just like my dad did. He was an engineer. So I graduated college, got into the real world, had a job, was doing okay. And then a buddy approached me about investing in real estate on the side. So in 2014, I started investing in real estate on the side with him. By 2018, we had built up enough connections and deals and income streams that we're able to quit our jobs and go all in. And then from 2018 to now, we've just been growing and blowing it and having a lot of fun along the way and screwing up as well as doing some really cool things. So I'll flash forward to today, kind of three main businesses. I have my flipping company here in St. Louis. We buy about 300 houses a year. Wholesale, probably about 250 of them, rehab about 50 of them. I also have my rental portfolio, about 50 million in assets that I've been able to buy, a mixture between single family, multi, and some self-storage. And then also my education business, which is where you get the few million followers, which is crazy. And then I have almost 2,000 students now that I stumbled into teaching. The whole point of social media was to create a presence, to make YouTube videos, and to make money off YouTube. That's literally as far as my brain went when I started, but I'm not that good at YouTube. I go down rabbit holes, as you'll see on this podcast. I talk too fast, as you'll see and hear on this podcast. So I started short form, and that's what took off for me. And I started getting people reach out wanting coaching. So I created a coaching program. So I have about 2,000 students that I've been able to buy about 350 million in real estate over the past few years, which is pretty cool. So that is the kind of long and short of my journey up to this point.
Wow, that's incredible. So such an impressive real estate business. And then while we're at it, we're just going to go ahead and tack on an education business with over 2,000 students. So I really resonate with the fact that a lot of your social media presence has grown organically. Can you talk a little bit more about what it is that you first set out to do with that very first piece of content when you put that out?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I almost know more about social media than real estate at this point, just because growing over 3 million followers is a very intentional thing that was been 4 years in the making and 30 hours a week almost in the making. So I was fortunate enough to have other businesses support me while I grew this and other income streams. But again, the original purpose of social media was I created some YouTube videos, and I knew you'd make some money on YouTube. And I'm like, we do a lot of really cool stuff in our businesses. If I can create YouTube videos and give one or two a week, I can start to make a few $100 a video, just like a rental property. And every YouTube video that goes out there will make money over time, and I will create another stream of income. Now, YouTube takes a long time to grow, takes even a long time to monetize, and it just wasn't happening quickly. So TikTok was a thing I heard about. So I started posting on TikTok, and I was getting 100 views, 80 views on my YouTube. And I think my 8th TikTok got 100,000 views. And I'm like, wow. Now, granted, their 15-second views are not quite as valuable as a 5-minute YouTube watcher, but they were eyeballs. And then I grew and started to grow from there. So originally it was really just to knock that, to get that YouTube kind of audience over that direction, and kind of turned and morphed into even more, just because I guess I have a little bit more knack for the short form than the long form.
Incredible. So what was the purpose of those short form videos? Were they educational? Were they entertainment? Were they just having fun? What did those initial pieces of content look like?
Yeah, it's all been educational, which is cool. You attract the right audience, but it's hard to grow. People like to entertainment. They like to see the sports, the comedy acts, the politics, the booty shakings, if you're into that kind of thing. They like to be entertained. And then there's my doofus ass talking about real estate and the Burr method and things. So I had to figure out ways to create hooks and to be engaging and to entertain and teach at the same time, which it's a little bit harder to do, but you can connect with the right audience. Because most people, not all, most people that are big on social media are actors or comedians or musicians or athletes that take their presence and they put them on an app. Growing from nobody knowing your name outside of your family and friends is a little bit harder, in my opinion. You don't have that baked in audience, that baked in credibility. You have to build it. So that was something that definitely was intentional for me. And it was just trial and error, like anything else, just putting out dozens of videos that one did well. They would get 80 views, 100 views, 600 views, 30 views, 60 views, and go back and looking at the one that got 600 and be like, why did that one do better? Was it the song? Was it the topic? Was it the deliverability? What was it? And just analyzing. You need volume to do that. So I was doing a lot of volume at first, and I still do. But anyways, that was just the original intent.
That's incredible. So at the time of today's recording, you have 1.9 million followers on TikTok. So what has that journey been like, starting from a brand new, you mentioned that you had to build it, right? Mm-hmm. So what did that look like in terms of starting with 0 followers to now getting to 1.9 million?
Yeah, it's quite the journey. TikTok's a wild west compared to the other apps. It is wild. It just was a consistent thing to where I caught it at a good time. 2020 was good. I like anything else, you wish you got on a little bit earlier, but I did catch it at that first big, like that first huge wave. There was a couple of big waves, like 18, 19, 20. I caught kind of the tailwind of that, and things really tended to take off. And it was the time where virality was becoming a thing. So TikTok real quickly flipped social media on its head. Social media before TikTok was follower or was creator focused. You're not going to see a video from somebody unless you're following them. So you're there for the creator. TikTok flipped it on its head. It's all about content. You can follow somebody and never see their posts if they aren't going viral. So it's all about the virality. It's all about the actual content, which gives the little people a chance, right? I don't need on any other social media app. You weren't getting 100,000 views on your 6th video. No way, no how, nothing. Probably even if you're a celebrity, you wouldn't. But right. With TikTok, it's all about watch time. It's all about engagement. It's all about that specific piece of content. And I learned that, and I rode that wave up, and I would go live a lot. I would go live on my way to work for 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I'd go live with 5 people, 10 people, 30 people, and just answer questions, talk, and just really boots on the ground to grow that connection, because that is the one downside of content-based virality is you're not connecting with that person. You're not probably following them, so you don't know who they are. So I really worked on building that community. And I remember one time I went live in my old studio, my old office, and I went live for 45 minutes. And I gained 14,000 followers in that 45 minutes. I was probably up to several 100,000 at the time. But TikTok used to say, if you're going live, we'll not only put a red circle on your profile, we'll 10x the push of your content. So every time I went live, I studied it and tested it. everything would blow up. So I would have a video that after a half an hour would have 8,000 views. And then I would go live for the next half an hour. And then I would go back to it and have 80,000 views. So it was just taking advantage of those types of things. And that's long gone. That doesn't happen anymore. But TikTok is the one that always experiments with those types of things, that if you can catch a wave like that, or for a while you could pay to have a couple dollar product on your video, and they would push that video because they made money on that video. Now they don't as much. So just those types of things that you learn when you're doing it all day, every day.
Yeah, that's incredibly cool. So right now it's currently 2024. We are at November of 2024. If someone is struggling in today's landscape to grow their TikTok, what would you advise them to do? Let's say they're stuck at maybe a few hundred, a few thousand followers. What advice, maybe the three best pieces of advice, come to mind in terms of these are the surefire ways to grow your account?
The number one way, and you might not like it, Kendall, but the number one way is consistently post. You're not going to grow if you post once or twice a week. I'm sorry, you're just not. There's not enough at bats for the algorithm to catch you and push you. So if you want to make this something you want to do, you have to commit time to it, and you have to post consistently. So you're going to have to post at least 3 to 5 times a week. I prefer every day. They don't all have to be works of art and masterpieces. In fact, it's the opposite of that. My least edited, least production videos always do the best. They're on the app. They just want that organic, natural feel. They don't want to feel like they're being sold or some over the top production. And that is, I think a lot of people have gone that way. I've noticed Hermosi and Gary Vee, some of these people that are much bigger than me in the space, have gone very simple recently. So it doesn't have to be crazy, just super simple. And you have to do it consistently. For sure. The second piece of advice that I would probably give someone is to try to take advantage of the new features. Like now you can collaborate with people, and like you can on Instagram, and have co-collaborated posts, go live, interact with the audience. Some they do like live challenges and things like that. Again, they for a while there they were doing that. I created like a series which was like 15 or 20 videos on how to invest in real estate, 30 minutes of content that I uploaded in there, charged 99 cents just to catch the algorithm. And every video that I posted that had that in there would get 5 to 10x views. At that point, I was averaging 15 to 20 million views a month on TikTok. Now that went away, of course, right? So just take advantage of the things that you see. And then the third thing I would say would be just have fun with it. You're not going to be good on camera at first. You're going to mumble. Should I mumble now? Pardon my French. You're just going to have to just be you and just have fun. People can tell when you're having fun. I remember reading a study, the news stations that like the weatherman and the anchors and the sportscaster, that they like hung out outside work and you could tell they're legitimately having fun with each other. The ratings of those news channels were way higher than the ratings of people that were robots. So just have fun with it. People can sense that authenticity. They can sense that joy in it and do that. There's obviously a lot of other things that goes into it, but I think those are the best three things to get the ball rolling, and just give it time. Because it just like my TikTok right now, I had 2 million followers. I got banned because somebody mass reported 161 of my posts at the same time. I don't know if it was a competition or a hater. So I was banned for 90 days and my TikTok's never been the same. But I still post on there. We get a few thousand views a post and it does okay. I don't let it die, but that really kicked me in the pants there. But it is what it is. I'm still posting.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, you mentioned content, you mentioned virality. You mentioned as well the non produced, just authentic, raw videos have been working really well. Can you talk a little bit about your approach to content? There's lots of talk around there has to be several pillars that you have to follow and rotate through. And so, what's your approach to content creation?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I have unintentionally created two approaches, and I'm actually presenting on this tomorrow in family. But the two
Right on.
approaches. So there's your initial approach, and it's called the post. And this is me coining it. It's called the post, analyze, post kind of process. So you have to get volume out. And as I talked about earlier, you just post as much as you can. And then you have to analyze those posts. And obviously, posting twice a week, you don't have enough data to analyze. So I would suggest post every day for 30 days and then go back and look and see which videos even got incrementally more views. Was it the time? Was it the length? What was it that made it do so much better? So go and do that. So if you do that enough times, you're going to move on to step 2, which I call the hub and spoke. So I did that for a long time. and I have 15 topics that are my hubs that I know will do well. And then I have the spokes, which is the deliverability. So for example, I'm in $30 million worth of debt. It's a great hook. It's an accurate hook. It grabs your attention, right? So I realized just through trial and error, that's a really good hook. So that's a hub. So I can do that walking down the stairs and not talking, like I've done and known for walk down the stairs one shoe. I can do that walking around and talking to the camera. I can do that just sitting there in a chair with nothing happening. I can do that. There's just different ways to deliver that same message, and that's a hub and a spoke, and I go back to that video once a month. So I have 15 or so hub and spokes that I know will probably do well. Not always. Sometimes I screw them up like anything else, but going back and doing those so that you can't get to that point where you have your go-tos at work unless you do the post analyze post. And it's going to take a while to make those. And to get to that point, it just is what it is. It's not something that there's no hack. There's no buying followers. There's no buying views. None of that works. In fact, it hurts you more than it helps you. So you just have to be willing to organically put in the time and effort to get those viral videos. To wrap this long-winded answer up, because you need virality to get followers. You can have, it's like for me, if I get 10 posts, if I get 100 posts to get 10,000 views a post, that's 1 million views. I will not gain one follower. But if I get one video that gets 1 million views, I will probably gain between 5 and 10,000 followers. The algorithm pushes it to your audience, and then it stretches it out until it stops getting a certain level of engagement. And the more viral it goes, the more people it reaches. So you're not going to reach new people with a normal video that gets normal views. So you will not gain followers. So you need that virality. And I know everybody wants viral videos, but you have to have that virality to get followers and to get growth. That's why I go back to the well. The only people I see doing this are like me, Hermosley, some of those the people that are way bigger than me. But if you create one viral video, don't think you're going to create another one. I think I heard Gary Vee say, you create a viral video, create shirts, make a hat, make a YouTube channel about it, create a TikTok about it, create a broadcast channel about it, create a newsletter around it, obviously tongue in cheek, but go back to that. I'm in this much debt video. I'm not exaggerating. It's got me 50% of my followers, because I reuse it every month or so, and it's entertaining, and the numbers change a little bit as I grow, and people just tend to like that topic. It speaks to my core audience. And then if you never heard of me, wait, this clown's in 30 million of debt? Really? Let me hear this story. So it reaches a broader audience. So you're not going to reach those things unless you do that initial post, analyze post.
Yeah, that is so good. So if someone's listening to this and they're like, man, I get what you're saying. I can't imagine as a business owner, like twerking on TikTok or something like that, afraid to show up in content, right? So what advice would you give to those people who are trying to figure out what it is that they can do to actually create the content, how they're showing up in that content?
Yeah, so the first thing there is going to be you're not going to be good at first. Like anything else, if you're a car salesman, if you are trying to win business as a landscaper, as you're starting your own landscaping business, you're not going to be good at anything at first. If you never golfed before, I give you a golf club and a ball, you're going to suck. I've golfed a lot and I still suck. So not everything actually works out for you if you try a lot, but it's one of those things, just go have the expectation that you're going to be bad. And the beautiful thing I heard somebody say a few years ago, I forget who, I'd like to give them credit, but if it's bad, nobody's going to see it. It's not going to get views. So who cares? You put out a crappy video, 18 people see it, 18 people saw it, and they all probably scrolled past and didn't even see anything besides your initial crappy hook. So just don't worry, get over your ego like anything else, and just understand that this takes time, and it can be a full-time or at least a part-time job growing an audience, because there's so many benefits having an organic audience, just from eyeballs to brand credibility to my ads perform better because I have an organic following, and I don't have to pitch on my organic following very often because they follow me and I never pitch them, and boom, they see an ad. Oh, I didn't know Sam had a mentorship. Let me hear more about this. I already know and trust him. So there's so many ripple effects to having an organic, legitimate following that knows and trusts you, that it is worth all this effort, and it's worth 6 months of not getting views. And it's worth all that if you're willing to stick with it. Like anything else in life and any other type of business, you just have to stick with it.
Yeah, that's so good. So you mentioned hook. Do you have a defined sort of roadmap or structure of your videos that you create? So you have the hook, and then you've got this, and then you've got this. How do you go about thinking about these videos that you're creating?
Yeah, so I go back to the hub and spoke quite a bit now, but I'm always, that's 15 posts a month ish, probably 10, more like 10 posts a month of this hub and spoke. So I do 3 posts a day, 2 to 3 posts a day. And I obviously repurpose them across all platforms, mainly some videos and some like kind of motivational quotes and things like that. So 60, 70 posts a month are new or newer concepts. I don't do what most people do. And I could probably be better at this, but I don't do the batch thing. I don't do the scripting thing. I've gotten better at speaking and getting messages across and being concise with things, but I just freewheel it, which probably is not good advice, but I do think it brings some authenticity to it. It does bring some like newer, like different kind of vibes each time. And it's super like up to date. Bringing 3 different outfits to the office and spending 6 hours recording the entire month's worth of content. I know that works for some people and that's how their schedule works and it has its place, but for me, it wouldn't. I just would lose the flow. I like talking about things that I'm currently passionate about or have an idea about. I put out so many videos that are perfect and nobody freaking watches them, even with my following, because so many times I'm like, this is going to be, in fact, I don't even show people my videos anymore. I used to be like, hey, before it goes out, hey, anybody in my office, check this video out. What do you think? Yeah, it's good. This is going to be 5 million views. And it literally gets 6,000. I'm like, crap. So anyways, you can't predict things. You don't know what's hot, what's not. The algorithm does have its tendencies and does favor at certain times. I don't think there's really anything as shadow banning. The only people that are shadow banned are the people that probably buy their followers, and the algorithm can senses that eventually. So just to answer that question, I wish I had more of a method to that. I do know that hooks are important. If your video doesn't get views, it's 100% because of the hook. If your video gets views, but it dies off, it's probably because you didn't get likes. The algorithms are more complex than just watch time. They take into account likes. Shares are huge, especially on Instagram. They want people engaging on Instagram. So if somebody shares it to their friend on or off app, that means they're on the app longer. So shares are huge. So if you provided value, they're going to save it. If you provided something they want to share with their friends, they're going to share it, obviously. If you entertain them, they'll hit the like button. And then watch time is important too. But there are all those factors. That's why nobody's cracked the algorithm. That's why nobody goes viral all the time, unless they're somebody like Hormoz, your Cody C, and just some of those people that are incredibly talented at articulation and have built this beautiful brand over time and backed it up. But they're not even hacking it. They're just that good. So there's no way to hack the algorithm unless you're buying followers or views. And again, that literally goes exactly, you're going to lose followers if you do that.
Yeah, that's such great insight to that whole process. You mentioned how important shares and likes are. Do you actually create those like CTAs for those, like share with a friend if you've gotten value or whatever? How have you had experience with that?
Yes. No, I usually, for the longest time, I ended almost every video with follow me to learn more. I tried stupid catchphrases like follow me to be free kind of thing. My good buddy Kong has show me the Monet. So having these catchphrases is nice. Follow is one that I did for the longest time. And actually it's a little frustrating right now with at least Meta. They call it engagement hacking. They don't like it. So if you say follow me or like this or share this or comment this word or DM me this word, that kind of catches their attention. And they're starting to pull that back and restrict some of that content a little bit. And I've tested this and looked at it a little bit. So I think, and again, nothing's known for sure, but I think asking for a follow or a like is fine and a good thing because you're getting engagement. But anything beyond that, I believe from what I've seen, it's not gonna hurt. Because if I'm telling people comment the word new to get my free training and 4 or 5 people comment new, they go to their DMs because I sent them an automatic DM and they click on the link and they leave Instagram. Instagram does not like that. That's kind of part of it. I used to be able to get a viral video, and viral to me is 1 million views. That's just nobody has, but 1 million views. I probably have 100 of them on TikTok. Used to have them a lot and decent amount on Instagram. I used to get one of those, and in the comments or at the end of the video, I'd say DM me this, and I would get like 200 or 300 DMs. So I would get 200 or 300 people to my free training, and 25 of them would book a call, and I'd get 5 signups, make 30 grand from a viral post. Now, those days are over. I think the election and the virality of the nastiness of the kind of social media is starting to fade. I think that'll come back, but that kind of stuff, the hacking of the engagement and then the political environment we've been in recently has kind of hampered those things. But it does go in ebbs and flows. So I'll be here for it, regardless if it comes back or not.
Yeah, that's really good. Now, you mentioned Instagram. So what are some of the biggest differences you've seen between TikTok and Instagram and how those platforms grow organically?
Yeah, so with this crazy crap that happened with my TikTok, the getting banned, the 9 days, all that stuff, during that time and recently I focused on Instagram and Meta. Like I think almost 500,000 on Facebook, which is wild because Facebook literally I just put Instagram and it shares to Facebook. I don't spend any specific time on Facebook. I think Facebook's where most of my buying customers are. So I probably should focus more on that. But anyways, the difference is one of those things right there. You post on Instagram, you can get the whole Meta sphere. You got Threads, you got Instagram, you got Facebook. So that's a big difference there. With TikTok, you're just getting TikTok. And the beautiful thing about Instagram, in my opinion, is TikTok has stories now, but they're not super huge. With Instagram, you get stories, so you can pitch something and it's gone in 24 hours, so you don't look like you're selling your soul to sell a product. You can do videos. You can do pictures and motivational posts. You can do DMs. Everybody's in Instagram DMs all the time. Nobody's in TikTok DMs. So Instagram is the catch-all, and they're known for that, stealing stories from Snapchat and stealing this from that and stealing reels from TikTok, whatever. They're not known for being catch-all. And then they are, though. I can engage with my people a lot of different ways and set up automatic responders and be in there and respond. That's the difference. It's just more flexible than TikTok, in my opinion. It's not quite as viral. TikTok still gets the most users every day over all the platforms. So for me, it's just the adaptability of it and the fact it's connected with kind of the other Meta platforms that has me focused on it. And that's been the biggest growth for me. Have been, I think, Threads, I'm close to 100,000, and then Instagram's 600 something, and Facebook's almost 500. So the whole Meta sphere, I'm over 1 million in that, which was a goal for me because I feel like that's more where my audience is. TikTok's pretty international audience, which is fine, but I'm not going to sell a real estate course to somebody in India because I don't know anything about the Indian market.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. So talking about these different platforms, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, all the different features that Instagram has, whether it's threads or reels or whatever, how do you go about, do you create content for specific platforms or do you share all of your content? What's your kind of approach to that?
Yeah, for a while I thought, hey, I need to create different content for different platforms. Why would they follow me on multiple platforms if they get the same content? And that's not realistic. People go days without logging into a certain app sometimes, and they follow 1,000 other people to be conceited enough to think that they're only going to remember that they saw the same post. It's just not realistic. I repurpose that helps me do it because I'm still very involved. I have some editing help now, and some I do have a little bit more help now, but I'm still heavily involved. Probably not 30, 35 hours a week, but probably 10 or 15 a week. And I have a lot of businesses and a lot of responsibility, a lot of time, and the businesses need me, but I still carve out 10 to 15 hours a week because I still think growing a personal brand is that valuable and it will open that many more doors for me in the future. So the reason we're on this call for right now, I know we know each other a little bit through family though, is because of the brand that I built. So it's got me in some pretty cool rooms. So I definitely repurpose. All the Facebook, I post it on Instagram and shares right to Facebook. I'll save it and I'll put that same thing on TikTok. And then usually Threads and X, I just do quotes. Sometimes I'll do a video. And then I post it on YouTube Shorts too. YouTube Shorts just extended to a minute or to 3 minutes. It was 1 minute for the longest time. And so anything over a minute I couldn't post on YouTube, but now you can, which is huge for me because most of my viral videos have that minute, 20 minute, 30 time frame, gets 35, 40-second watch time. Algorithms love that, and then it just goes. Getting a video with 6-7 million views is literally like 4 or 5 years worth of watch time, which is crazy to think about, but that's the power of these short form platforms.
Yeah, that's remarkable. That's remarkable. So do you have you mentioned that you had a team that helps you with some of your content creation. Can you talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, I've tried a little bit of everything. So I've had in-house editors. I've hired like a firm to help me that has obviously VAs that edit it and bring it over. And it's pretty funny that I remember I grew the brand myself. So all on my phone, I don't edit YouTube videos, but other than that, I edited everything for the first couple of years. I'm not a good editor, hence the simple style that works. I understand the certain flows of being quick, choppy to the point, cutting out like the spaces in between and where to place things. So I do understand a lot of the nuances, but so I did it all myself for a while, which was great, grew the brand, but then people got to know and trust how I do things and how I edit. And I'm not the best teacher, I guess. Every time I've handed off that responsibility, I've seen a noticeable dip. We did, the funny story I was going to tell you is I had a third party company that did a video a day for me, had an in-house editor, and I had myself editing. And for 1 month we did a test. I think there was like 35 videos that the company that we hired did for me. And I think my in-house editor did 50 videos. And then I did 10. And my 10 videos got twice the views that both of their videos combined got, just because I
Combined.
knew what worked. So that's why I said, crap, do I got to get better teaching, or I'll just carve out some time? So now what I've gotten to the point is I do a quote, which I'll throw, like right now, my kind of thought process is on X or Threads, I'll do 2 or 3 like motivational quotes. I'll think of something cool that's worked in the past. In fact, I have a Google spreadsheet of 60 or 70 quotes, and have somebody on my team go how many likes they've gotten. So I know the topics of real estate doubles in value every 15 years. The sooner you buy real estate, the sooner you realize your dreams, like that. And then I take that concept and I'll throw it in chat and ask for some different variations of that. Then I'll throw that on X or Threads. And then that day, the one that gets the most likes, then I'll turn that into a little simple quote in Canva and I'll put that on Instagram. So that's what I've been doing. That's way faster than a video, way faster than a creating and editing. So I finally figured out my new time schedule of 10 to 15 hours a week. I just have strategies that it'd be great to do 3 videos a day like I used to. I just don't have time for that anymore. So I'm making work with the best that I have and not putting out crappy content that somebody else is editing and ideating. And I'm just like a puppet saying what they said to say. That never works. I've tried it. So I'd rather just put out a little bit less and maybe different forms than just go all in on that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Are you using what you mentioned, ChatGPT, but are you using any other type of tech to help you with this, like maybe like a scheduler or something like that?
No, I'm not. So I schedule out a few things. So like schedule out posts on YouTube, schedule out posts on X sometimes. But as far as like Facebook and Instagram go, I don't schedule those out. I don't know if it, from the slight testing I did, I felt like it hurt my videos just because I feel like
Mm.
scheduling them out, forget when they're out. If something happens and Trump gets elected or something happens in the business world and this tax credit comes through or something, like I want to post that video. I want to catch the time of that right now, right? A huge thing that anybody can do is take a crazy headline, screenshot it and green screen it behind you. Those videos usually perform better because it's just a different look. And I've done times where I've done that right before or after another video that I had scheduled and I didn't want to wait on it, and it eats into each other. And I just feel like it's, I don't know if the algorithms catch it or not, but I tend to try to, I have probably 1 or 2 on my phone, but I tend to keep it, again, very fluid, which is not for everybody, but I keep it super fluid. I got 1 video for this afternoon, the evening, and then tomorrow I don't have anything in the hopper. I'm going to have to record a video and do a quote and just do it tomorrow and carve out 1 hour tomorrow to get those things done.
Yeah, that's really good. So you mentioned personal brand, and you've also mentioned the importance of being intentional. So at what point in your journey of we're putting out some content, we're starting to see some traction on your socials, at what point did you start saying, okay, is my personal brand? And am I speaking to that? How did that come along in your journey?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I feel like it organically happened, but I did have a moment. I remember talking about, should I make it Sam Primm brand? This is all Sam Primm stuff, which I probably should have done, but I was like, I don't know. I'm not one of those guys that's going to name Samuel John Primm Jr. Not, I just don't want that, not that attention, but I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me. And then building it around like just a brand was hard to connect with it. People want to connect with a person. So I did the middle ground. Sam Faster Freedom. My brand's Faster Freedom. My name's Sam, but now everybody calls me Sam Faster Freedom. It's not my name. My name is Sam Primm. So, anyways, it's funny, unintentional. Maybe it's the right way to do things, kind of thing. The brand gets some credibility, and Sam gets some credibility, but Sam Primm gets nothing. So, anyways, I for a while I was thinking through that and trying to be a little more intentional. So I've messed with a few different things there. But I remember specifically some videos I did that were a little more personal, a little more, got a little bit more inside of me, tended to do better. So then I thought, how can I go about being a little more intentional with this? And how can I go about trying to grow a brand that's a business and a personal brand and leaning into what people wanted? And that was when about 1.5 years ago, I leaned into that normal guy. I'm a normal guy. Like we said, I grew up in the Midwest. Parents, like we talked about at the beginning, dad's an engineer, mom's a teacher. Packed my lunch every day to school to save money. Didn't have the AC on, attic fan to keep 1 pair of tennis shoes a year, like just super ignoring. Didn't have a lot, but didn't want for anything. And that's not like cool or braggy, but it's real. And so many people can relate to that. So as soon as I started just letting people in a little bit, my background, I didn't come from money. I didn't inherit money. I don't have a huge team. It's me being in front of you and being vulnerable. I feel like I made that 1.5 years ago, that intentionality to just let that be. let that soak in, let it do what it does. And that's when things really started to pick up, especially on the meta platform side, which has been my focus a lot of the last year.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Just when you were talking about your sort of your brand identity, like as you were listing this off, I was thinking, yep, I resonate with that. Oh, I connect with that. I have a story about that. So totally recognize how important that is. So let me ask you this question, Sam. What is your definition of a personal brand?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been asked that specific question. I think a personal brand is just you, but on somebody else's phone, right? It's just you, but you're at somebody else's disposal to watch, to block, to send hate messages, or whatever. It's just you putting yourself out there, and it's not a personal brand unless you're authentic. It's a business brand or just a crappy piece of content if you're not authentic. And that's the biggest thing to me, is that authenticity. And that's what rings true. Again, like mumble, talk a little fast kind of thing, slur a little bit how I do things. And I try to clean that up, but it just is what it is. And that's what I hear like nonstop in the messages I get and in the signups. We got 5 signups a day for my community, and I can pull up my phone. 3 of them, the closers, they were like, yeah, this person been following Sam for a long time. They said how authentic he is. He's not bragging in front of cars or money or he flexes on his assets or his debt, not his liabilities or things that are flashy or fake. And I appreciate that, because that's rare out there, and that just builds that credibility. That's that brand authenticity and that brand awareness. I feel like I got lucky, because that's not the type of person I am. I feel like if I got in social media in 15 or 16, everybody was flexing on stuff, and that was normal. I think people got sick of that and they wanted something real, and that's when I entered the picture, and that's all I can be. So there's some luck to this, of course, but I think that authenticity and just putting yourself in somebody else's phone is a personal brand.
That makes total sense. So if someone's listening to this and they have been primarily a business brand on social media and they now want to start commoditizing on their personal brand, they want to start building that, but they might be afraid, right? Like I am constantly showing up as business. How do I just start inserting myself? And is this going to be weird? What advice would you have to those people in terms of how they can start implementing more of that personal brand into their content strategy right now?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways you can do it. And my business partner, the guy that I started buying real estate with in 2014, I mentioned earlier, he's starting this. So he has like personal stuff. And then I want to start to build the following. He made Lucas Faster Freedom, right? Because we own Faster Freedom together. There's that side of it where you can mix and match a little bit, and he posts personally a little bit and then on the business a little bit. So he's trying to grow 2 separate ones, and he'll kind of co-share some of his stuff, right? Like his personal videos he'll share and try to build up a little bit of both. There's that option. And the other option is just sticking with your business brand, maybe using your face instead of the logo in the profile picture and adding a little bit, maybe, I think mine is Sam Faster Freedom is my handle on Instagram, but underneath it says Sam Primm, right? So you're getting a little bit of both. And then just posting, if you post 5 times a week, do 3 business and 2 personal. And then maybe eventually you do 3 personal and 2 business. So just slowly, because a hard left or a hard right does tend to push people away. You have to slowly sprinkle it in as you go about it. And my most viral videos, my daughters are with me. I have my daughter on my shoulder. We're in $30 million worth of debt. The video I have that Dave Ramsey called me a liar on his show on was my daughter. I'm in $25 million worth of debt. And I had her, I said, we're in $25 million worth of debt. And the next scene was her on my shoulders. It cost me $125,000 a month in mortgage payments. And then I'd hold her on the other hip. Here's the good news, though. It allows me to own real estate worth this, and it brings in this much cash flow. So those types of things, I'm bringing my family and personal life into it, as well as talking business. So that's another way to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Now, you mentioned your community. Can you talk to us a little about what is that? What does that look like? And when did you start that in your process of your journey?
Yeah, so probably started that in like 2022. So a little bit into social media. I just had gotten enough people asking, hey, can you help me more? I want my handheld. I'd like you and trust you. And all these other people are charging 25 for this, whatever that is for that. Can you help me? And I would give them my advice best I could on social media, and didn't have time, and it wasn't monetizing it, I decided several different things. I started out with a self-guided course and then mix and match several different things and one-on-one coaching, which wasn't scalable. And I've tried several different things, or I'd have to charge too much, or too much in my opinion. So where I landed on now is a pretty mid-ticket type price point, $6,000. And it comes with, I have some coaches in there that do group coaching calls. There's one-on-one calls with the coaches. I'm involved as well. There's a Facebook group that they can get into. There's a few hundred videos that you can watch and learn. So I created something that I'm really proud of that catches all. If you're one of those people that don't want to be on Zoom and don't want to talk to somebody, there's a few hundred videos you can watch with AI that guides you through them. You type into what you want to learn about it and it sends you the videos of what that is. So there's that type of style. Then there's one-on-one slots with my coaches. I don't do them, but there's one-on-one slots where they can hop on the call for 15, 20 minutes and go through a deal for those people that need their handheld. Then there's the group coaching to where 7 times a week, there's a coach on an hour-long Zoom with 25 or 30 people masterminding and going through highs and lows and things like that and having accountability. And then, of course, there's a Facebook group where everybody kind of connects and asks questions and interact. So I've almost done the Instagram thing, taken a little bit of every strategy and kind of packaged it together. No matter what your type of style of learning is, we're here for you and we're going to hold you accountable and try to help you. So that's why it's been 2,000, almost 2,000, not quite 2,000, almost 2,000. This style in about 2.5, 3 years has been pretty good, drastic growth, and it's affordable. People see the value. It's not, they're not have to pull out 25 grand.
Yeah, that sounds like a remarkably valuable community. So when you set out to build that, what types of things did you have in your mind in terms of, this is what I want the community to be, this is what I want people to feel like, these are the types of people that I want in the community? What were some of those initial thoughts around what you envisioned for your community?
Yeah, at first it was like that I called it the Live Rental Academy. It was a 10-week course. I taught an hour a week for 10 weeks and that was it. And then off on their own. And then people need more hand holding. So then it just organically happened. I remember when I met Pace Morby and he's all about community. He's all about community and growing that community. I'm like, that sounds really good. Let's focus on community. And then I talked to some people who owned and started fortune builders and they're all about system, process, McDonald's, repeat the system, buy the franchise and go do it. And I've tried to, again, take a little bit of everything. So we call it a community mentorship, and you get our systems and processes, but you also get a community to lean back on. Again, on maybe I'm being naive, but trying to take the best of all of them and combine them into one. And it wasn't super intentional. Just, hey, Pace is all about community. That sounds really smart, really good. Nobody can replace that. AI can't replace community feel. So let's do that. But systems also, like I buy 300 houses a year. People would like the system to go do that. So just was a hodgepodge of a mutt, if you will, of different types of ways to teach people.
Yeah, no, I think that's fantastic, especially because you're meeting people where they are and what you're fulfilling that need, which is incredible. So in terms of the community engagement component, you mentioned that you had a Facebook group. How do you keep that group active and getting people plugged in and engaging in that particular component of your community?
Yes, so there's a main coach of the program. His name is Kayola. He was my first student. He lived in Hawaii, bought during that Live Rental Academy and the follow-ups, he bought like 8 houses in 10 months and he moved his entire family to St. Louis, the paradise of the Pacific and the paradise of the Midwest. St. Louis is not called the paradise of the Midwest, but anyways, it was his entire family in December of 22 out here. And he's super involved. He cares, one of those super caring people that was born to serve. And he's super active in there. So he's posting motivational things and asking questions and getting people to engage. But with 1,900-ish students, and obviously they're not all active, but I just did a post yesterday trying to motivate them and push them and say, finish the year strong, don't wait. And I think like 850 people saw it. So there's close to 1,000 active people in there, maybe more because they don't all log in every day. We post like when the calls are in there, we post motivational quotes, and Kiki's in there all the time. Kayola, call him Kiki. And then we have students asking questions all the time. Hey, this is my question, or hey, this is a win. I need to go do it. But if you go to my Instagram, student success is one of those save story buttons. And there's over 200. I have to it takes out the oldest post. There's over 200 posts of people posting about their win, just about my 8th rental, just about my 30th rental. One of our damn students bought 63 rentals since he started 2 years ago and quit his job as a teacher. So there's all these cool success stories that people post about, but then they post about their struggles. So I think it's more about cultivating a community of people that want to share their wins, their struggles, and people that want to help those people. I think it's more about that and just organically goes to the Facebook group.
Yeah, that is so good. And you said you mentioned the price point was 6K. Is that 6K a year?
No, it's 6K for 6 months. Probably going to raise it soon because we got 5 already today on 8 calls.
Love
6K
it.
for 6 months, and then it's 97 a month after that for as long as you want to go. So obviously if you're the point is to put the money, get in, get committed, and if you're at all getting any value, $97 a month's not nothing, but it's not, and it gives me some reoccurring revenue because I used to do it. I think it was like $7,500 for life or something, and it's just you can't even legally do that. Okay, for 6 months, and then 97 a month after that. It comes with you get the calls, the coaching, everything, and then we integrated some software that I just created called Deal Pilot. That low plug. Deal Pilot is just it's like a deal finding AI software with education, with connections, the lenders and things. So it's really cool, unique software that you get free for 6 months. And then after 6 months, you get the software and the mentorship for 97 a month. So we haven't even come up on anybody hitting their 6 month yet, but I would assume anybody that is getting any value or even remotely wants real estate, they'll stick. And that's where I can charge a fair price, but if I can scale it, $97 a month is people see the value in a software that costs more than that probably, but also 7, 8 coaching calls a week, plus the one-on-ones, plus the resources, plus all the stuff. So the goal is to blow them away with value and be like, yeah, I got 30 times that value in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that sounds remarkable. That's fantastic. I love that. So let me ask you, Sam, what would you consider to be your superpower?
I don't think I have one, but if I did have one, I would say I am abundantly competitive. Like I am insanely competitive about the things that I feel like matter, but I have that like mindset of abundance to where I'm so competitive, but if you want to win on this, I'm okay with that. We can do more deals or more interactions or more conversations in the future together. So I feel like it's usually people that are like lunatics like me, competitive, like they like want to smash their competition. And maybe if I was that way, I would have bigger businesses. I don't know. But there's those people that are just ruthless. So I feel like I have that competitiveness, but maybe compassion or maybe that like mindset of abundance. That I think it's somewhat of a unique blend where I legitimately am okay with not having to win every conversation. I'm okay with there's not what is that? Where's that? There's what is that Voss book about never split the difference. I'm okay
Yeah.
with splitting the difference sometimes. Like it's fine. So anyways, I feel like I don't know if it's a superpower, but I think it's somewhat of a unique trait.
Yeah, that's really good. What's your definition of success?
I would say definition of success for me would be creating impact and impacting obviously financially, but emotionally and helping like impact the world. I feel like success for me used to be about my bank account. And then it's moved on to impacting people and helping people and growing people the best way that I can for them. And then when you don't focus on the bank account and you focus on helping people, the bank account tends to fill up even more, but you really got to not focus on it. And that took me a while to do that. I had a couple conversations a few years ago with a couple billionaires, and they both said the similar things. They didn't know each other. Or they didn't know they're having conversations with me at least. And they're both like, impact, help people, focus on that. Money flows through society. It's not good or evil, and it goes to those who provide impact and those who legitimately want to help people. You can't say it and not feel it. And it took me about 18 months to actually feel it and say it. And then I feel like the money started to fill up, even though that wasn't the intention. So a long-winded answer, but yeah, that's what success for me. But success for anybody, whatever makes you feel proud of what you've done, I feel is more of a general. It doesn't have to be monetary. It can be, usually is, because that's just a measuring stick for society, but it doesn't have to be.
That's really powerful. That's really good. So you mentioned that this could be a full-time job, growing your influence, growing your impact socially through social media networks and things like that. What's something that you think not enough people are talking about on that specific topic that we should be talking about right now in terms of growing influence and growing personal brands, growing a tribe? What should we be talking about right now?
I feel like the biggest thing people do that they shouldn't is that like you hire that process out. I'm not talking about buying followers, but like if I see it happen all the time, people get to 100,000 followers on some platform on their own, you can tell, and then they either get too busy, get too big of a head, or just get too busy, and that's not they don't do it intentionally. They hire it out and they stop growing. It happens all the time. You have to be involved in the process, especially if you've built it on your own. That's where people like, know, and trust you because of how you've done it. So that initial push of your videos, if you start to lose your core audience, they're not going anywhere. The videos are not going anywhere, and you're done, and you're dead in the water until you go back to being engaged. So not exactly your answer, but the biggest thing that people aren't doing enough of is being involved in their content and realizing that spending 5 to 10 hours a week for the next couple of years is a lot of time. But if you can get several 100,000 followers, that can be worth millions, and you can sell your channel for hundreds of thousands of dollars, let alone all the impact and all of the low ticket products or the high ticket products or the lead-ins or the books that you can sell with pushing eyeballs in a certain direction. So the biggest thing people aren't doing is being involved in the process because they think, hey, I can pay this company 5 or 10 grand a month. They'll send me the scripts. I'll record the videos or edits, and boom, I'm going to be famous on TikTok. It's not how it works. And so there's that. And then I think people aren't talking enough about what actually moves them. Again, people can feel the emotion authenticity through a video. Some person did a video, some goofy guy named Sam did a video walking down the stairs with one shoe on talking about this, so I'm gonna do the same thing. There's no authenticity to that. That's not gonna hit for you. You can't. I used to try to copy Ryan Pineda's videos, and they were horrible. And as soon as I started making my own videos, they did great. So it's just all about you creating your own vibe with your tribe.
Keeping the personal and the personal brand.
There you go. I like it. That's the title for the podcast episode.
I love it. I love it. Sam, what's your biggest passion or goal you'd like to achieve at this point in your life?
Gosh, I hate to be corny, but one of the biggest goals for me is to just be able to grow a successful business. So I'll put the realistic part there first, and the part that everybody knows is true, but also be able to be there with my family. I feel like it's a lot of people that are growing the types of things that I'm growing, and way more successful, of course. They lose sight of that family feel and being at home for their family. I feel like, I think I emailed you or maybe your assistant, was like, if it can't be an hour and a half, I got to get home to my family. So I legitimately, my youngest daughter is 2.5. So however many days it is, let's say 1,000 days, whatever that is, I put her to bed 900 days. Like if I'm not out and travel, like I put her to bed, I'm there. I get up within the mornings, and my other daughter, depending when they go to bed, I'll put her to bed too. So just being there with my family and not losing that intentionality, and making sure that I'm there for them. And the business stuff obviously is great, and beat your chest and make the money and do the things, of course, like I want that. I want to own a private jet. I want to bring an NBA team to St. Louis. I have big goals that require a lot of money, but not losing sight of my family along the way and being there for them, and just realizing that's the most important thing, because it can be really fun to make good money and do good things and have this net worth and all those things, but they don't really mean a lot if your family's not there.
That's right. That's so good. That's so good. And do you have any thought leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners, authors that you really like to follow that kind of make up like the core of your thought processes and impact?
To a certain degree, yes. To a certain degree, no. Like there's not anything like I don't need their help and support, but I just do a lot. It's work and family. That's all I do. And if my drive home and my drive to the office and home from the office, I would listen to Colin Cowherd podcast. It's my only time to just zone out on sports and just get that take. And when I'm home, it's family, and then everybody goes to bed or whatever happens, and I'm working. I like to work. I work 75 hours a week. I don't have to, but I do. If I didn't have a family, I'd work 100 hours a week. I enjoy it that much. I get that much of my cup filled from my family and my work that I don't need these expensive habits or these expensive cars or these vacations or anything like that. I get enough out of that. For me, yeah, it's one of those things where I do. Hormozi is obviously brilliant in his articulation, and his brand's blown up faster than anybody's, I believe, in the past several years, as far as if you're not Ronaldo or somebody like that again comes from so people like him. And then I've become friends with people like Pace Morby, things like that. It's great to get their takes on things. I will voice message a few times a month and shoot stuff back and forth. He's been out to my office. So those kind of people, but I just don't feel like I have enough time to dedicate to getting super involved with this or that person. But in general, we love reading books. We read my leadership team of my 3 companies and my financial leader. We all meet every Monday morning, and we read a book, and we read a chapter, and we have a book club at the end of each meeting just to talk about life or success or business. So I do read books, but not as much as I used to. And I don't connect with a ton of people, again, because I just don't feel like I have a ton of time for that. And I do want some chill out time.
Yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that. Sam, I want to thank you so much for being so generous with your knowledge and your time, your information. How can we give back to you right now? What types of connections or resources are you currently looking for?
Yeah, just any connections you have with anybody that is looking to provide value and legitimately wants to help people. Because unfortunately for us, the space is not full of, but there's a decent amount of fake gurus in the space that are not providing value and flexing on things that they shouldn't be flexing on. So any connections there, and then just, getting this out. I don't need a ton. I appreciate everything you've done. I'm sure we'll connect more after this podcast now that we got to know each other a little bit. But yeah, anybody listening, just shoot me a follow. Just look up Sam Primm on whatever social media platform you're on. I'm probably there. Go to the one with the blue check mark. There are tens of thousands of scam accounts of mine that will try to steal your crypto. I promise I will not. Create an account with 8 followers that only has a few posts and ask you for your crypto. I promise. So follow me, only the blue checkmark ones, and then interact and have fun. And I do have a book called Own Your Freedom, so you can check that out on Amazon. But other than that, I don't need a whole ton of plugs here. Reach out to me on Instagram if you want to chat. I'm the one that answers my DMs. Sometimes it takes me a day or two to get back, but I'm in there. Just reach out if you have any questions or want to know any more.
Fantastic. We'll put all of those links and handles in the show notes. That way, if someone wants to reach out, it's all right there, clickable. So thank you so much again, Sam. This has been absolutely fantastic. So much value. I've taken so many notes here, and I can't wait to go back and listen to everything. So thank you so much. This has been so fantastic. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, my man.
All right, take care. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Hey there, brand fan. If these insider strategies on building influence and cultivating real community got your wheels turning, like and subscribe for more conversations that cut through the noise and get to what really works. And if you're ready to turn these insights into action, head over to onlybrandfans.com to unlock the next level. Until next time, build something they can't ignore.